Welcome to the RePsychled podcast, where we discuss everyday issues from a mental health perspective. We are your hosts, Dr. Rashonda Strickland,
Dr. LaFanya Jones-Hines,
and Dr. Nichelle Wall. Now, don't get it twisted. We're not going to be your stereotypical therapist.
What we will be is informative, down to earth, a little spicy, and vulnerable.
All right, interns, turn up your volume, grab your pen and paper. It's supervision time. As a reminder, this podcast is not meant to take the place of a relationship with a licensed mental health professional.
Welcome back to session 58. May I take your order?
May I take your order?
Welcome to Good Burger, home with the Good Burger.
Can I take your order?
That's what it sounded like to me.
It was. That's why I did it.
So this session is going to be about the representative that we present to people when we first meet them. So I wanted to start off with just a fun fact question really quick, just to get us started. So how many times do you ladies think a person can fall in love?
Can or
Do.
Oh, okay. Because I'll say unlimited, but do typically.
The therapist in me says 3 to 4, but the normal person in me says hundreds.
Why are those answers different?
Because as a therapist, I'm like, it's different. You
Okay.
know, like truly loving somebody is a little bit different than loving something. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's just not the same thing. And I think we use love very loosely.
I was thinking, it's so funny because I was thinking maybe about 4 times. But I think we fall in like a whole thousands of times.
Yes, I do agree with that. So based on some things that I've read, they say we fall in love 3 times. Each time is different, and each time serves a different purpose.
Okay.
Makes sense.
It does.
Yes. So I liked your we fall in like trillions of times.
Still clumsy.
Yes. Yes. But see, the thing is, we confuse that fall in like and fall in love, and we confuse them to be love.
I think there's 3 L's that we fall into that get confused a lot. Of course, love, like, and lust. You know, you fall into all of those. And sometimes all 3 of those are in the same person, but many times they are not.
Yeah. You're all over the place.
Yeah. And so when we first meet someone, and I'm not, because a lot of time I see a lot of single women, and I always have to remind them about not falling in like with the representative. And y'all know y'all have heard us say something about a representative several times on different relationship sessions. So let us just kind of tell you what that is. So presenting a representative is the person that you want people to see. It's putting your best foot forward. It's you presenting the person that you think people want to see. It's you showing up with a mask.
Yeah.
So we're probably going to talk about all of those. So that's why I named all of those.
Yeah. And it's not good or bad necessarily. If you are hiding behind it, then yeah, that goes into a whole nother realm of things. Or if you're doing it because you have ulterior motives or something like that. But there's nothing wrong with showing up as your best self. But the reality is that most people's best self is not their authentic self. That's that whole self-actualization that we done talked about before. Who you are on the inside should match who you are on the outside, and not very many people get to that level.
See, I think you need a version of a representative initially because first impressions matter. You know, so that's the one that's going to stick with people. So if we're talking about in dating for this purpose, if I come to this date and I haven't showered, or I have stains all over my clothes or things like that, that's going to set a tone for how this person views me. So I think that having a representative initially, again, I agree about motive. But if your intentions are pure, then I think you do need at least some version of one, because you want to set the stage for this person that you are, I even hate to use the word worthy.
Healthy. You're healthy.
Yeah.
Well, and see.
Well, I meant of, continuing to have, dialogue and engage with them.
Well, see, and for me, because y'all know I am so a bacteria phobia, I need you to show me that. I need you to show me that you don't shower, and I need you to show me that you dirty, because that's going to be a no for me, because I can't take that. And so, because if I find out later and now I'm already invested in you, like, I feel like you've bamboozled me.
I can see that too.
Yeah, but I think you also have to look at it from the perspective of there's just certain things that you're not going to be able to know when you first meet somebody, and you are going to get that. Like, nobody's going to lead with, I'll just use myself as example. I'm not going to lead with the fact that I had breast cancer and all my boobs is gone. Like, I'm not going to lead with that. You know what I'm saying? But eventually,
So why not?
Because
authentic.
Because I'm trying to figure out if I like your person at this point. You don't need to know nothing about my medical history yet. It would be no different than if I'm counseling a client who has STDs, STIs. Like, you don't share that information with everybody on the first date. You kind of have to figure out, oh, do I like this person? Are we vibing well? Because if you lead with, I have AIDS, like out of your mouth, the first thing, like
that sets a set of thoughts.
Yes,
about you and assumptions and okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and so you think someone should know that later on, like, and I'm already got feelings for you?
Well, I would hope you wouldn't have feelings after the first date. I'm saying, like, these are conversations, the initial conversations. This is a window of initial conversations.
But see, the thing is, to me, after you're on your first date, that's when I decide, like, oh, okay, I can chill with you. No, I'm good.
No, I think because I live in the sex therapy side of mental health. No, I'm not going to ever recommend my clients lead with that, because we have a lot of people out here losing their lives for sharing certain parts of who they are. And you need to figure out if this person is actually trustworthy and is not going to put your life in danger. Because I would never tell my transgender clients to lead with that, even though most of them go on transgender sites and different things like that, and they are very honest, but it's more so you have to get more information about this person, because especially in the state of Texas, when we have one of the highest
and see,
murders.
I get that, but see, I think that's why they are being murdered, because they're not telling.
No, a lot of those people that have recently got murdered were not in any committed relationship.
Gotcha.
They were targeted.
Gotcha.
So, and I'm not saying be dishonest. I'm saying get to know the person. And I think that's the problem that ends up happening. People are so focused on, I need to obtain a man, or I need to obtain a partner or a woman or whatever, that they're not allowing themselves to get to know who this person is as an individual, just in general. Like, yeah, you can vibe, but that don't mean that they're supposed to be your significant other. That don't mean they're supposed to be your friend, your business partner. So if using myself as an example, when I go on a date to see how we interact with each other. What are the certain things that we like? Who is this person? Do I see some chauvinistic ways? Because y'all already know that ain't going to fly with me.
But you're not going to see that on the first date?
Yes, I have every time. I don't know what it is about these peoples. Trying to edit myself. These peoples. But it comes out. They'll tell me, well, I think a woman's place is this. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, tell me about that. Because then I go into therapist mode, and it ain't no way you about to be my significant other anyway, because now I done put on my therapist hat. But I just let them show me who they are, and I'm showing them who I am at the same time. And then if I feel like, okay, yeah, I could feel like I could date this person or whatever, then I can put them in a category of a prospect of, being romantic. And then we can go into, I'm starting to share things about myself.
So what is dating then?
The process of getting to know someone.
And what does that mean?
It means for me personally, the first date is not me officially starting to date you. It's me seeing like who you are. Are you trustworthy? And I don't mean like trustworthy in the like deep sense. I mean like, do I get bad vibes?
Like, did you show up on time?
Did you show up?
Yeah.
Are you consistent? My top 3. Are you consistent? Are you stable? Or can I see some integrity? A lot of times when I go on my first date, it's to a restaurant. I'm seeing how you're talking to the waitresses. I'm seeing how you're talking to me. Like, what are your manners? And they don't have to be the same as mine. I'm just seeing where you're at so I know where to put you. I'm watching you. Whatever you show me is going to show me what and where I need you to be in my life.
Data collection.
Yeah.
And I guess for me, because I've moved so many different times, whenever I go out on a date, like my first date, I'm really going on this date because are you already in homeboy status to me? Because
you're nothing.
Yeah, right.
To me.
You're exactly. You're nothing. Like you my homeboy. Like, and so that's what I'm getting ready. That's the type of conversation I'm getting ready to have with you. Like, to me, I try to be a transparent person because I want you to be transparent with me. Because if I find out something down the line, now granted, I understand like you know the STIs and you know things like that. I get that because that can be scary. But other than that, like, I need you to be transparent. And even with STIs, like, I don't want to go too long because
yeah.
And I don't think it should go past a few dates, but that first, and because when we're talking about representative, we're at the part of the initial viewing of the representative.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, cool. You seem like you got a good head on your shoulders. And I think most people that have dated me, they know that I'm pretty much an open book anyway. So they're going to give whatever information they ask of me. But there's certain parts of myself that I'm not just volunteering on the first time I meet you. Now, if you ask me and we can get into certain parts, cool. Now, don't ask me nothing about no sex when you find out that I'm a sex therapist, because now you done turned me off.
Yeah.
And I can see. So why would that turn you off though?
It turns me off because most people don't have an educated conversation about sex. It's like, ooh, I bet you do this. Ooh, I'm gonna bend you over here. And I'm like, sir, you don't even know what I like.
Yeah.
I don't know what you like. Why would you say anything sexually suggestive when you haven't figured out who I am yet and I don't know who you are yet? Because what you said, say I'm a dom, a dominant. Say I'm a dominant and you just said that. That's faux pas number 1. Now you're going to be punished. You get what I'm saying? So you need to learn the person you're getting to know.
Yeah.
And it's not this good or bad, right or wrong. It's just like, okay, that didn't work. You rubbed me the wrong way. And because we're at such a beginning state, I don't feel it necessary for me to critique you and teach you how, like, we're just learning each other. That's it.
And see, those are the things that we have to pay attention to when we're dating, because that when you go on that first date, I would say the first, I would just say 6, just to give a number. The first 6 dates, that's when a person is definitely trying to put their best foot forward. And like Dr. Wall was just saying, like, after that first date and you kind of get the surface type of conversation out of the way, then, knowing who you are and being authentic with yourself will allow you to slowly be able to not feel fearful of being who you are.
I know some studies say that it takes roughly 6 months before you meet someone's real person. And we talking about regular people. We're not talking about like a narcissist or like somebody with a personality disorder. We're talking about the average Joe. It takes about 6 months before you see somebody's authentic self.
Do you think people can hold on to it for longer than that?
Yeah, that's why we got narcissists.
I mean, just the average person though.
I think some people can, but I think you will definitely start seeing cracks.
I was going to say, I don't think it's consistent.
Yeah. And I think in this day and age, it wouldn't matter if they could hold on to it or not. Folks really just don't be paying attention to what's right in front of their face. So they just be like, oh, he didn't mean it that way. He did. That's why he said it.
But see, by the time them cracks come, that's when Dr. Strickland was saying, I forgot what I was going to say.
It'll come back.
It'd be like that. Well, what I was saying that because, we're talking about the beginning stages of a relationship. So, this is not a conversation I really can participate in because I haven't dated in so long.
You date your husband.
It's not, but that's not the same. You know what I'm saying? That's not the same. So like I don't have reference for what y'all are talking about. But when you transition from the initial meeting phase into the we're dating phase to the long-term relationship phase, do you ladies think that there are transitional points for the representative? That's kind of why I'm asking, can it stay longer than just the 6 months?
I think if you are not having in-depth conversations, I think the representative will be there your entire relationship because you're just being surface level, and that is exactly what a representative is. It's surface level. Like, you're not digging deep into anything. I mean, think about some of the couples we see, and then they be like, I didn't know you liked that. And the person been liking it their whole life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And even when on our last session, we were talking about acrimony, how she didn't know her husband had been a felon.
Yeah. And y'all been together for years. So I do think things like that are there. In acrimony, I think his was a selfish reason, because he didn't want her to know his past, which why would you ever want to be with somebody that you're not able to share all aspects of yourself?
And so that also means that as because both of you in the beginning are representing your representative. I was trying to get the RE out of it, but presenting your representative. And so both of you have to create an atmosphere, an environment where both of you are comfortable allowing those fears to go away. Because if you are dating someone that, let's just say, have anger issues, that's not to say that they're not, I guess, worthy of dating, but you need to know what their trigger points are. Yeah. They need to, if you're that person, they need to know what your trigger points are. And so if you are afraid to share that with them and they just see it and they just see the explosive or the rage or the anger part of that, then that's a turn off.
Yeah. On that same line, I was reading I want to say it was Instagram, and the thread was about, when did you know that your significant other was the one for you?
Oh, I saw that one.
And this girl said that she was screaming and yelling or whatever at her significant other. And he says something to the effect of, you're going to have to learn how to better communicate with me, because we're not going to be yelling and screaming like this in front of our future children. I said, okay, sir.
I like it.
Come on, put your boundaries.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can't, if you're not comfortable with, because all of us have some imperfections.
Yeah.
That's just, and we have many of them. We have many of them. And you have to be okay with your imperfections in order for you to be able to, if you're not okay with your imperfections, then you should probably not be dating.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to show who you really are to the person. If you're one of those people who are very direct, very firm, and business mind, and if you try to show this submissive, meek, timid woman, I'm just using women because we woman, then you're giving this person a false representation of who you are.
Exactly.
Yeah. I totally agree with that.
You have to show all yourself, light and shadow. That's important.
Yeah.
But
that's scary.
Ain't it?
I was gonna say that's hard.
Yeah.
That's why you ease into your ease.
Yeah. Well, this is why I keep asking about when you, this is hard because y'all are not y'all have been in long-term relationships, but not like
10 years.
10 plus years.
Yeah.
Not healthy. So,
okay.
No.
Yes. I hear you there. But, as you transition from 2 years to 5 years to 7 years to 10, 15, like, as you change, is it my thought process, or my question, I guess, is, as you get older, you have other experiences, as you change, is that just another version of a representative, or is that authentic.
Well, I have a
authenticity.
question. You're the only one that's been in a relationship 10 years. Why don't you tell us?
Right? Yes. Well, over 10 years.
Yes.
So I would say, I think yes. I think
it is a representative.
I think parts of your representative, I think some pieces fall off very quickly in the 6 month to a year range. Because if I want to be honest, I think we have several different masks that we wear, several representatives that kind of either shield us, or there's just a bunch of layers of masks. And that some fall off very quickly. You know, we get to know each other. Okay, you seem cool, that part. So then the defense mask falls off. Okay, we keep getting to know each other. Okay, so now my lack of trust mask falls off. And then, you know, okay, we've been in this thing for 2 or 3 years. Okay, so now my commitment mask falls off. You know, so I think that over time, that the longer you're with somebody, just different versions of masks fall off. Because you continue to learn somebody over all of these years.
Definitely.
And you learn things about them in year 8 that you didn't know in year 1. So while in acrimony, it was unfortunate she did not know that he was a felon, but you do learn stuff like that many, many years later. Like, dang, I didn't know that happened to you. Or wait, hold on, what? You didn't ever tell me about that. So I have a feeling, and I believe, okay, this ain't gonna be in no psych book nowhere, but that you do have multiple representatives that change over time, but they're not all the same. They're not all the same level. They're not all the same thing. They don't all have the same impact.
Yeah.
But it's just these tiny little changes that.
I think the important part of that, when it really comes down to like the nitty gritty, is that ultimately you need to not mask yourself from yourself. Because what ends up happening is that if you are okay with everything about your life, good or bad, there will be no reason to hide it.
That's true.
And that's hard. And you know, we've talked about this several times. When you get to that level of self-actualization, that's what is happening. It's like my internal person matches up perfectly with my external person, regardless of what I have done, regardless of what I have been through. And unfortunately, the majority of us on this planet is just not there yet. And there's fear and there's ego. You know, there's just so many different things that get in the way of getting to that. But that's why it's a progression. You continually work. Well, if you are working towards that, you continually work on that until eventually you're naked. But it's scary.
It is.
It is.
And I think you have to also ask yourself, why am I presenting this representative? Because a lot of times we are uncomfortable with what we see. And so, and especially when you get to a certain age, you tend to think that I'm going to be by myself for the rest of my life. So I need to put my best foot forward so this person can like me and I can get married and then they can see everything.
And then you can get divorced.
I could see that. I can see that in just some of the people that I work with. Like overdoing it, you know, hamming it up and putting not even necessarily trying to put their best foot forward, just putting too much of themselves out there.
Yeah. No boundaries or the pick me or the debonair person. Kind of like what you were saying before we started, you know, people doing what they think the other person wants them to be. And then at the end of the day, that means that y'all probably don't match up, because that should be who you are. You don't try to anticipate what your partner wants like that. You know, you can do good things for your partner. And by partner, I mean, it could be your friend, partner, whatever, any relationship. Like if, you know, Dr. Strickland, Dr. Jones-Hines, I know one like blue, one like purple. If I go do something for them, I already know the gift gonna be probably in those colors. So that's me anticipating that, but that's not me not being who I am. That's naturally who I am.
Right. And that's why I tell my my couples too, when they have problems and they're trying to reconcile and everything, I tell them, don't do something that you're not going to be able to keep doing. If you're not a person that likes to buy flowers and chocolate and candy and all of that stuff, then don't start doing that, because if you can't keep that up, then the second you stop, the other person is going to think something is wrong.
You ain't never lied.
Because when I met my husband, who I love so much, I was Dr. Wall.
I was giggling. I was trying to hold it in. The way you was saying it, it was tickling me.
So I think it was maybe our second, maybe third date. Some kind of way, I guess I told him I like goobers. And that man bought me some goobers. And we went to the movies. He went to another store because they didn't have goobers. He got there before me and I guess realized that they didn't have goobers. So he went somewhere and found me some goobers, and he had me some roses.
And it was cheaper than buying it at
the movies. Yes. And so that was so impressive to me that he went and found me some goobers.
Wow. And
the thing about it was, I was thinking in my head, is this just because you dating me and you trying to get me?
Of course it was.
Mm-hmm. No.
No. I'm saying what you said.
Yes, yeah. But no, he has been consistent like that our entire relationship. Even now, he is always surprising me with something that he knew, that he listened to me say that I wanted or liked or whatever, and he'll get it. And so that was one of the things out of many that made me know that I wanted to marry him, because he was very consistent.
That's interesting.
It is.
I like it.
It makes me wonder the opposite of that question. Then, do we create representatives over time versus letting some go?
Yes. Yes, we do. Because we have these notions in our head that we are supposed to be X, Y, and Z. And so then we make ourselves X, Y, and Z, even though that's not who we are sometimes.
I think we do, because so many of us, we get told so much that you're this, that you're that you're not this, that you're not that as we go along in relationships, we are mindful of those things that we're not or that we are. And either we try to make sure we are better or different in the next relationship, which may not be authentic, but it becomes authentic because somebody has, it's whatever someone said, it stuck with us. So if someone say that you so rude, I don't know why you don't know how to talk to people or whatever in this relationship. So when y'all break up, you try to make sure to tiptoe and walk on eggshells to not be rude.
Well, I was thinking about within a relationship. So like you are in a committed relationship and it, extends into a long-term relationship. Throughout the course of that time, do you create representatives within that relationship? I think
it could still be the same.
Yeah. I mean, prime example of that is the man that all of a sudden has a midlife crisis and goes and buys a Ferrari or goes and starts dating a younger woman, when in all actuality, if he would have been tuned into himself, these are already things that he could have implemented into his life if they are truly things that he desires and wants and likes. Like, it doesn't have to wait until you like, I just can't take this anymore, I'm going to do something completely different. No, you are someone who's always liked sports cars. Or you are someone who's always wanted a thrill in your life. And the reality is, for whatever reasons, you thought you couldn't have it yet. Or you didn't want to date someone younger than you. Why? Long as they legal and consenting. Don't just be snatching the babies off the streets or nothing. But
to add to that, I think it can still happen that way in existing relationships. If like your spouse say you don't cook enough, so then you start cooking more, or you don't clean enough, so then you start cleaning more. But it doesn't. But I think that's when things like when we see couples that say, well, they change for a little while, but then they stop doing the same. I think that's the representative. Like, I'm gonna make this change, and I want to keep doing it, but it's just not me. It's not me to keep cooking. It's not me to keep cleaning. So you see what I'm saying? So I do think you're right. That's a good question.
Y'all know what's not me? Not taking a break. So we gonna go on and take a little short break, and y'all listen to this lovely Anchor ad.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, girl. What you been up to?
Nothing much, just working. Trying some new things. You know I like to make them coins, honey.
Okay, ma'am. What are these new things?
Well, I am thinking about starting a podcast.
Seriously?
Yes.
Ooh. You know we have one, right?
I thought y'all did. Okay, so good. I'm talking to the right people. I've been doing some research, and I've been trying to figure out a hosting site.
Okay.
You can use the one we use. We use Anchor.
Hold on, though. Hold on. You know, y'all balling.
Here she goes.
Y'all balling, so y'all can afford to do that. Is it free?
Yeah, girl, it's free. You know we're not out here trying to spend all that money. We keep our coins in the bank. Plus, it has a lot of great tools that help you to sound very professional.
Come on through, professional. Okay. So it got good tools and it's free. So where can I put it?
So you can find it pretty much everywhere. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, pretty much anywhere that you listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
Okay. Because y'all know I'm an Apple girl.
Yes, whatever. We do. But get this.
Okay.
You can also make some money with it too. And you don't even have to have a whole bunch of listeners either.
Wait a minute. Seriously?
Yeah, sponsorships. Yep.
Oh, okay.
So basically this thing is just like a big old one-stop shop.
Okay. So then I really just need to go ahead and download this free Anchor app.
Yeah, or you can just go to anchor.fm if you want to do it on your little laptop, and you can just immediately get started.
Okay. Well, you know what? I knew I came to the right room. I knew it. Boss ladies.
We got your
Thank
back.
you,
We
lady.
got your back.
You welcome. So anyway, what you got going on this weekend?
Girl, I'm shopping. I be liking to make coins, but I like to spend them too.
Yes.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I'm just going to take a nap.
That sounds like you.
Well, I do be sleepy. Y'all don't like bed?
Okay, so we're back.
Hola.
Hello.
So one thing I was kind of wondering about, so we've been talking about having a representative, but we haven't really kind of dived into if there are, I hate to use value statements like good and bad, or but are there reasons why or ways a representative could bring good things to a relationship? And of course, what are some of the negative impacts of having a representative?
I mean, having a representative, period, is a shield of protection. Now, you need to know why you're putting the shield of protection up, because you don't want it to block your blessings, block yourself, come across inauthentic. But I do think that it can be, you know, a shield in order for you to exist in environments that you are unsure of, and it's a protection.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think the protection, it prevents you from sharing too much too soon and exposing yourself too soon. I'm assuming both of you say this in your sessions too. Whenever I've had a client who has experienced some complex trauma, I typically tell them, like on their second session after the intake, I'll tell them not to share too much with me too soon, because I don't want you to walk out of this room feeling vulnerable and regretting that you shared this information with me too soon. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's what, for me, when I would go on dates, even though I am transparent for what that moment is. Like,
Gotcha.
for what it, how can I describe it? Because the words are not coming to my head. For the beginning stages of what that is.
Not for an in-depth relationship.
Exactly.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah. And I agree with both of y'all. I think another way that a representative can be good or helpful, maybe that's a better word that I'm thinking, that a representative can be helpful. I think it keeps you focused on a moment, especially at the very beginning, early stages of a relationship. That you are focused on the fun, the getting to know, you're not necessarily focused on the all of the traumas or all of the, you know, hurts that you've had in the past. You were actually focused on the excitement of the getting to know you piece, because I am trying to put on the best version of myself.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it leaves you open to being able to, one, have a person see what you could be.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it also can give you an opportunity to see how they are reacting to you. And if, you know, by you putting your best foot forward and them not liking it, that's an indication that, okay, this is already somebody I don't need to deal with. Most people don't listen to that, but just saying that is an opportunity to use it in that manner.
Yeah, I think it also allows you to, well, I would hope, because I don't think that it does, but I would hope people would start, after listening to the session, start allowing it to help you to pay attention to those instincts, those red flags.
Red, yellow, or orange.
Yes.
All of those.
Paying attention to those things, because this is when, although yes, it's a representative, but if you don't even connect with the representative, you're not going to connect with the manager.
That part.
I like that. The next level up. I agree. And it's all, again, we've talked about this before in this one and previous sessions about observation. And I think that having the initial representative, now we've talked about this whole session about at some point you're going to have to let the real version of yourself out. But, you know, I do think it allows you to be able to collect data safely.
And I think the other thing that the representative can allow you to do is pay attention to your fears. Obviously, representatives are there because of some sort of fear. You know, even if it's the fear of, if I share too much too soon, they're not gonna like me, or if I share too much too soon, I'm gonna feel exposed. It's still a fear. So it definitely exposes what you are fearing in that moment.
Yeah, they're the first line of defense. You know, just kind of keeping with your analogy of getting to the manager. You know, you call customer service, you're getting a customer service representative. You're getting the initial face of the company. Before you are able to even climb up that ladder to get to the CEO. There's so many different layers and levels between the customer service representative and, you know, the owner of the company. So if you kind of keep it in that same vein when you think about yourself, you know, you're showing the first face of you, the company, quote unquote. So, yeah. Okay. So then, not helpful.
So I think it's not helpful when you recognize the fears in you that you are afraid to expose, and it's preventing you from being authentic.
I also think that when an individual uses their representative to be selfish and manipulative, and they're essentially a wolf in sheep's clothing, you know, so the person on the inside is completely different than the person on the outside. Then that becomes a huge problem, and it's a safety concern.
That's what I was just thinking.
Yeah.
That can be, so when I say dangerous, I don't necessarily mean like fatally. It could be, but emotionally, you know?
And I was actually talking to someone a couple of days ago about something similar to this, and they were asking the question of, they were saying that they asked a friend, do you think I've been abused? And it was like, the friend was like, well, if you have to ask that question, then that may be an indicator that perhaps you were. And so I was saying that you do realize that abuse don't start off just saying, oh, you ugly. Oh, I don't like that shirt you got on. Oh, you know.
And some people don't think that's abuse.
Hey,
because
it can be verbal. But I said it starts off like, oh, you gonna wear your hair like that? And then you ask, what, you don't like it? And they said, no, I'm just trying to figure out if you wearing your hair like that. And y'all should see my face, because it's you know, it's, so you know what I mean. Abuse starts off like that.
It can start back even further with, and that's it.
Yep.
It's called grooming.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm bringing that out because those are the types of things that can be hidden by a representative.
Yeah.
It's the nice nasty.
Yeah. Yes. I like that.
Yeah. I think those are of course, and I'm assuming we all agree, the most detrimental types of representatives out there. Of course, the narcissist. And this doesn't necessarily mean we mean diagnosis narcissist. You can have narcissistic traits and not fall in a clinical category.
Yeah.
But that kind of antisocialist-ish, type, narcissistic type, those are the ones that I think, of course, cause the most damage because their purpose is to hurt, or their purpose is it only serves their needs.
Yeah.
And I will create as many different types of masks that are as necessary to fit whatever that need is going to be.
Yeah.
You definitely have to remember that narcissists are very charismatic and charming. When they are that way, that's definitely a mask and it's a representative. And it can, like you said earlier, it can be very detrimental because you end up falling in like and in love with that charismatic person. And now you have feelings for this person and it's hard for you to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another part of that same vein is when we were talking about a few sessions back when you have like the respectability politics. And you have people who play these roles like they are playing their representatives, like the girl who can cry wolf all the time or use her tears or her body to get what she wants. That's a representative.
Yeah.
So people been rocking representatives since the beginning of time. This ain't nothing new.
Oh yeah. And we'll continue until the end of.
And the thing is, we all do it. Even us, we all do it because it's just,
you do it when you first meet your client.
Yeah.
For the first session.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
We're going to take it gentle on you in session 1, probably even the first maybe 3, 4, or 5.
Possibly.
It depends on what you got going on.
It depends on the person and the personality. But you're still going to put on your best therapist face, so that this person, you build rapport, you get buy-in with that person. And then they start, okay, so let me slowly give you a little bit more. And then, by session 10, I'm, lighting you up with the therapy skills.
Yeah. I had a client tell me this week, she was like, something happened to me this week, Doc. And I was like, it took me a whole year to listen to her. Because I didn't want to hear what you had to say that one time you told me off. I said, well, you pay me to tell you stuff. So don't, if you don't want me to tell you nothing, don't come. So I have a lot of clients who are like, dang, you cut me in that session, Doc. You cut me.
Oh yeah. I had someone tell me recently, I've been mad at you all week. and I was like, really? And they say, yeah, I've been mad at you all week. And unfortunately, I didn't know the thing that I said that made them mad. But once they told me, I was like, oh, okay, I can see that. But again, the point is you paying for a service. So I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah.
And you don't have to like it.
You probably won't. I tell my clients that in my intake. Now, look, I am not a therapist that's going to stroke your ego. I am going to give you the real. And they always say, oh, that's what I need, Doc. That's what I need. I have started telling them, that's what everybody say. But I'm not everybody's taste. And I get it.
Yes. We can fire each other. I don't have no problem with that. I can refer you to a different therapist out of this office because we're all pretty much the same.
There's no point in me giving you nobody in this office.
No. But I can refer you to someone else or I might fire you because you're not a good fit for me. So either way, you're going to get a referral, but.
Yeah. But just to wrap that up, even we do it. I agree with you. It's something that is, again, that's why I was kind of asking, why is it helpful or can it be helpful? because it helps with, in a situation like this, because this is not a romantic relationship.
Yeah.
You know, it helps with rapport building, you know, and kind of breaking down defenses so that you can then have the stage that's set for
Vulnerability.
thank you. Because I was thinking collaboration, but vulnerability is a good one.
It's remember a few weeks back I told y'all I had to get ready for a court hearing, a custody court hearing for someone, and they didn't get Nichelle. They got Dr. Nichelle in Wall, LPCS, CST. That's who they got. And I was staring at the other party like, please say something. Please say something, like I don't know this whole family. Please say something.
Yeah.
In my professional face, not my Nichelle face, because that's a little different. But you know, that's what.
Yeah.
Look, that's why we paid all this money to be able to
learn how
use
to
it for good, not for bad, for good.
Yeah.
That makes me think about about respectability politics just a little bit, but I'll say that there's a loose tie here. But we've been talking about representatives in the romantic sense, but like and then we did just a little bit here about in the professional sense, but it makes me then think even more about representatives in the workplace and code switching. Like that's a representative.
Yep. It is.
They would crack up so hard if they ever came. Well, we didn't think no clients are in here, because we got Vietnamese, we got these chocolate people, then we got a Trini girl. Like, we got a whole variety, and it'd be like, blah, 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 blah. Hello, how can I help you today?
Oh yeah. And I'm like, that's representatives.
Yeah.
You know, I saw this video on maybe Instagram, and it was this guy sitting in his car, and it was like black people before they go to work.
I saw that this morning.
And, you know, basically he in the car, you know, he bumping his, I can't remember. It was some crime mob song. And then somebody walked. No, it wasn't that one. I think it was Rock Her Hips, that one. But he was like, somebody walked past, and, you know, he got this thing for like, oh, what you looking at? Stupid, you know. And then he still drank his drink or whatever. He like, go on, stop. What, you ain't got to wait on me. Go on ahead.
Let me turn my music down before she go in there snitch on me like she did the last time.
Y'all, that was us like an hour ago before we started.
For sure. And then he get out the car. He's like, hi, Tyler. I'll see you inside. And I was like,
the mask.
I mean, immediately goes on. You know, and I think it makes me think about what happened with me today. I didn't tell y'all about this. So for the interns that don't know, I do some testing at one of the local
clinics.
Community mental health centers. And so this guy, the parent of the person I was testing, he was kind of rude, but I was like, whatever, you know, you don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. But then towards the end, as we're leaving, he goes, my name is Dr. Such and Such. And I said, okay. And he said, I have 2 PhDs and I'm a Mensa and I teach 17 classes at the university.
Do you feel fulfilled?
And it was like, it was such a like, wait, what? Okay. So, but he was kind of combative like this whole time. And I was like, I don't know what this dude's problem is. Like,
no, you know what they
right. So I was like, okay, so it makes me think now, like, what representative was he trying to put on, you know, in front of me?
In front of the doctor.
Right.
Did he know you were a doctor? Or did
Yes.
he just think you were somebody testing?
I was introduced that way
As
to
Dr.
him.
Strickland?
To him.
Oh, okay.
And then I introduced myself that way.
Okay. Because, you know, sometimes you could have been a psychometrist.
Yes. Yeah. But this person was also of a different persuasion as well.
Okay.
So I think there was maybe a little bit of that there too. Because the whole time there was like this wall of like, why are you acting like I don't understand like what's going on here. But then at the end it was like
in the abyss.
Yeah. But then at the end it was like, I'm this. End of conversation. But then followed it up with, thank you for not making this redundant.
What? I am confused.
I was so confused, and I'm like, who is this person that's like, I don't understand what's happening here.
Yeah,
like, who is this individual?
Sometimes people need to go see a therapist. So they should go to Balance Beacon. We're going to take a brief break because my head hurts now.
It's so much going on in the world right now, and we could all use some extra support. At Balance Beacon, we offer counseling services for individuals, couples, families, and groups. If you're in Texas, give us a call at 214-396-6503 or visit our website at www.balancebeacon.com for more information.
Ladies, are you looking for a new way to get your body right and your body tight? Well, let me give you the scoop on She. She Dance Studios is a women's only sensual fitness program geared towards unleashing that inner goddess. We're currently offering classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. inside Active Family Wellness located at 4120 North Collins Street, Suite 200, Arlington, Texas 76005. For more information, DM us on Instagram or Facebook at She Dance Studios.
Okay, welcome back. All right, so I have a question. How do we become authentic?
Lots and lots and lots of self-introspection.
Okay.
Accountability.
And I think under that umbrella of self-introspection is parts of it is looking at you, analyzing your own behavior. But I think the other half is also seeking information from other people about your behavior.
Trusted people.
Yes.
You took it right before I said it.
Yes, trusted people. Because sometimes, not all the time, sometimes we may not be the best
judge
of our own, and we tend to be either too easy on ourselves or way too hard on ourselves. So you need something to kind of give you that middle ground, because you are likely a little bit of both. But so I think you need a combination of looking at self and some information from others.
And in doing that, you have to create a loving relationship with yourself. And in loving yourself with the good, the bad, and the ugly, because you're not going to be able to separate yourself from yourself.
No.
I mean, you can, but then that's another diagnosis that we're not going to go into.
Yeah, I agree. I think also challenging thought patterns, challenging behaviors, making conscious, intentional decisions to behave differently, speak differently, think differently, identify feelings, dive deep into, okay, is this a primary feeling, a secondary feeling, a tertiary feeling? It's a lot of mental gymnastics.
Yeah.
And not being afraid of that, because a lot of times we understand that it's one, hard work, and we don't like to change. So that's a second part of the hard work. And then we don't want to admit to ourselves, for whatever reason, that we feel whatever kind of way we feel. And those three things in itself have to be implemented in your everyday walk, because if not, then you're not allowing yourself to be authentic on a daily basis.
Give yourself permission to be complex. You are not going to be all good or all bad. You are going to do both. It doesn't matter how quote unquote good you think you are. You are going to hurt somebody at some point. You're going to take advantage of someone at some point. you are multiple things, which is okay. It's how you repair and how you change your behavior going forward.
And then don't allow the guilt of whatever wrong you've done keep you stuck. I think people, I say utilize, but people utilize guilt in the worst way, because we use it when we feel guilty. We get stuck instead of allowing guilt to push us forward to doing something different.
Yeah. I think another thing to do is to ask yourself, how does this serve me for the greater good of who I'm trying to become? And when you keep that kind of perspective, it allows you to have that accountability that I was talking about earlier, and it continues to get you to become your best self on a constant basis, instead of it being like, okay, well, I'm just doing this because society tells me this is what I'm supposed to do, or I'm just doing this because my mama told me. No, it's like, okay, you're being intentional about how you're showing up. Like we said earlier, there's nothing wrong with having a representative, but you need to make sure that the representative is healthy for you and works for the greater good of you.
If I was much more well versed in Jungian theory, this would be a great this wouldn't even be a Psych 101. This would be like, we're about to have a whole separate session about it right now. But, this is because he talks a lot about the identity of self and how to...
Carl Jung, FYI, y'all.
Oh, sorry. Yes, Carl Jung. Not Jung like Young. It's Jung. I think it's Jung, actually, isn't it?
Carl Jungian.
We
Texans and Tennesseans, so we'd be struggling.
Yes. But Jung, he does talk a lot about, the identity of self and how that's created. So I think that would be, especially for our intern that asked for more theoretical kind of stuff. I think that would be probably a good branch off. So if that is something that y'all are interested in, please let us know. If you want to us to dive into a theory that's related to self and relationships, and kind of how we can bridge those things together, y'all let us know in the comments, because we would be able to and interested in doing something like that for y'all if you want it. But since we don't want to bore y'all, right?
Because in psychology, we're interested in psychology. Right. Y'all may not be interested in the psychology. Y'all may just be interested in the different topics that we
and the applicable side of it.
Yes.
So y'all let us know. Okay. So we typically end all of our sessions off with a quote, and this one this week is brought to you by Jane Monica Jones. Ironically, when we own the shadow aspects of ourself and put down our masks, this is when we become truly lovable.
Must be this volume control.
So, okay, interns, process your notes. Be sure to catch us next session and find us on all major platforms at the RePsychled Podcast.
If you're a new intern, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share.
Thanks for listening. And remember, we are shifting and reshaping our psyche through healing conversations and connections, one discussion at a time.